We're live.
No, who's working the, shake your booties, boys and girls. I might not even touch my baby.
Good morning. Please join us in singing We're Unity.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4. We're unity. We come to see the God in you and in me.
Welcome, everyone, to Unity of Stewart. I'm Linda Hart. I'm your platform assistant today. And Reverend Jude is in Alabama. She is there for a civil rights experience. She will be back next week. And we are blessed today to have with us Reverend Beth Head, who is an ordained Unity minister. She graduated from the Unity School of Religious Studies in Unity Village. And in February of 2019, she retired as a minister of Unity of Melbourne in Melbourne, Florida. She served there for 20 years. Besides being a guest speaker, Reverend Beth also does board training at various churches and consults with churches about their financial reporting and accounting systems. She currently serves as the Southeast Region Unity Ministries as their regional representative and church consultant. And she also serves on the standards team and admissions team for Unity Worldwide Ministries. Beth lives in Melbourne, Florida, with her husband, Gerald. And Gerald and Beth both have private pilot licenses, and they enjoy traveling. She loves books and chocolate, so she is a woman after my own heart. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Beth Head. As always, we do have with us the Joyful Noise Choir and Band, and today our special music features Jen Erickson. And now I'd like to welcome our first-timers. If you're here for the first time and feel comfortable doing so, please raise your hand and keep it raised, and our usher will bring out to you a welcome packet. And Barbara, you have a heart on, but I know you're not a first-timer. And sometimes we'd give the hearts out for first-timers. But at any rate, in there's a form that if you fill out and take to the podium out in the foyer, you get a free gift. And if you're watching online, you can also send us an email at admin@unityofstewart.org, and we will send out a welcome packet to you. And if you didn't raise your hand, you can pick up one of these packets on your way out. They're on the left-hand side. We are serving coffee and cookies in the kitchen. Please join us on the patio after you grab your snacks and visit with some folks if you'd like. We do want you to know that Unity of Stewart is a welcoming, affirming, positive path of spirituality. All are welcome here, no exceptions. We thank you for being the church, thank you for being here and being the church, and thank you for those of you listening at home for being the church. Now we'll move on to some announcements. So first, we start with prayer. Our prayer chaplains are ready to hold you in prayer and support you in prayer. You can place a prayer intention. We have a box out there in the foyer. You can put your prayer intention in there. You can also send in an email if you're watching to prayer@unityofstewart.org. And also you can call Silent Unity. And they're open 24/7. At the end of service, we'll have 2 prayer chaplains here to help pray with you. If you'd like some support, to give gratitude, ask for some support, bringing the power of 2 into your prayer. And today, our prayer chaplains are Stacy and Amy. Where did Amy go sit? Amy and Stacy are our prayer chaplains today. So they will be here after service if you'd like to pray with them in the sanctuary. Next, the choir. If you would like to add your beautiful voice to these beautiful voices, please consider joining the choir. The rehearsals are on Tuesdays at 6 and also on Sundays at 9:30. Next, the Legacy Brick Program. There's a brochure in the back, in your seat back. You can look more about the brick program, but if you want to leave a legacy here at Unity of Stewart and purchase a brick in memory of someone, in gratitude of someone, with Mother's Day coming up, it might not be a bad idea to do something like that. You can go ahead and check out the brick program. Now, we are going to be putting in our first order on May 15th, so if you are considering that, please do go ahead and put your order in for May 15th. All right, now it's time to dedicate our service. And we're going to dedicate our service today to living from Christ's consciousness. I respond from Christ consciousness. After quickly reacting to someone's negative comment or to some stressful situation, do we find ourselves saying, if I only had that to do over again, I would say it differently, do it differently. Anything we do or say as a reaction is usually in resistance or opposition to someone or some circumstance. When resistance sets the tone of our day or of our lives, we find ourselves reacting negatively. If she is not friendly, then I won't be friendly. Or when he speaks harsh words to me, I will speak even harsher words back to him. The way out of reacting negatively is to stop reacting and begin responding from Christ consciousness. When our responses are from the Christ, we are inspired to say and do our best. Our kind words and our helpful deeds cause good feelings within us and within others. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
And so now please affirm with me together. I respond from Christ consciousness. Let's take a good deep breath. Take that in. And together once more. I respond from Christ consciousness. As we prepare for prayerful meditation, let's sing Gentle Spirit.
In this moment, I invite you to take a deep breath and settle in your chairs and relax, knowing that we are here by divine appointment, here one with each other. And today we claim dominion. We are powerful spiritual beings endowed with dominion. We have the authority to take command of our thoughts, our words, our actions. Even as we work to change our circumstances, we remember that we are not constrained by what is happening around us. Claiming dominion, we choose our response in all situations so that we can live in poise and confidence. Today, I claim dominion over my thoughts and feelings. When I recognize limiting thoughts, I train myself to affirm my spiritual power and freedom. divine wisdom guides me. I feel the strength of the indwelling Christ presence moment by moment and thought by thought as I use my dominion to establish a positive, fulfilling direction for my life. As we go into meditation, to a time of silence, I invite you to take that idea that I claim dominion over my thoughts and feelings. My greatest asset, your greatest asset, is your ability to claim dominion over your thoughts and feelings. And as we bring our attention back to this time and this space, we give thanks for that ability to claim dominion over our thoughts and feelings. And for this asset, this privilege, we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
One, two, three, 6. One life, one love, one peace in our lifetime. One life at a time. One truth, one world, one peace in our lifetime. One life at a time. One life, one love, one life at a time. One truth, one world, one life at a time. One voice, one choice, one peace in our lifetime. One life at a time. One prayer, one dream, one peace in our lifetime. One life at a time. One voice, one choice, one life at a time. One prayer, one dream, one life at a time. One life at a time. One life at a time.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes. This is a song by Sloan Wainwright, and it's really the instruction on how to move forward, okay? And feel free to dance.
All right. Well,
send it out everywhere we will grow. And the truth of this force leads us back to the source we all know. Live out the best of your life. Live out the best of your life. Take a chance, reap the reward. It's yours to be had, what you're looking for. Make it up as you go along. No one can say what's right or what's wrong. With a word like a prayer, send it out everywhere we will grow. And the truth of this force leads us back to the source we all know. Live out the best of your life. 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 Wake up. With a word like a prayer, send it out everywhere we will grow. And the truth of this force leads us back to the source we all know.
We all know it.
With a word like a prayer, send it out everywhere we will grow.
Oh, it will grow.
And the truth of this force leads us back to the source we all know.
We all know it. Live out the best of your life.
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 Live out the best
Of your life. And that's what you got to do. Thank you all very much.
What great music. Aren't y'all lucky? Wow. I'm always blessed when I come here. So I'm continuing on with Reverend Jude's theme of taking a vacation. And so today we're going to talk about taking a vacation from negativity. One of our co-founders, Myrtle Fillmore, wrote, "All thought is formative. All thought has its effect in our lives." I've heard this attributed to many people, but I believe that the first person that wrote it was Ernest Holmes. It says, change your thinking, change your life. And we all know another little unity platitude. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. That's right. I was in New Orleans this last week, and I was at the Unity Church in New Orleans, which I'd never visited before, and the minister said something that directly applied to today's lesson. And she said it in a way that I hadn't heard it before. She said, your greatest asset in life is that you have the choice to control your mind. And it was like, oh, that's a new way of saying that, because it's true. My greatest ability is my ability to control my mind. Your greatest ability is your ability to choose what you're thinking. Whether you're thinking something positive or negative, it's your choice. And Jesus said, by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Amen, yeah. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And we say tongue, thinking about words we say, but I want to say it's the words we say with our mental tongue. That little committee in the back of your head that goes, nye, 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 nye. Is that what yours does? That's what mine does. You know, I drive up here and I think, oh, did I wear the right clothes? And I walk in and I think, will they like me? I walk in, you know, and all those little thoughts go in my mind. Now, you'd think after doing this for 25 years, I wouldn't have those kinds of thoughts. But that's that committee that lives inside our head that's always questioning us unless we take charge, unless we take dominion. Unless we take dominion, we take control, we take ownership of our thoughts. I was telling someone earlier that I have a granddaughter who experiences depression at times. And, you know, it's the saddest thing when I see it happening, because she gets really, really down. And unfortunately, she has to get really down before she'll ever come to Grandma, because she knows I'm going to start kind of questioning her, what she's thinking. You know, well, honey, why do you think that? Well, could it be that they really like you, or could it be that maybe there's something that's not exactly what's happening? And what's always amazing to me is that she and I can talk for 15 or 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, I've got my bright, smiling granddaughter back. And it's just a matter of her switching her thoughts. And what I've seen is that as she has gotten older, she's now taking more responsibility. With more maturity, she's able to say, oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting into that down spot. What do I do? She recently texted me. She said, I was down, but what I decided to do is to take care of myself. I took a long soaking bath, and then I went out to eat. And she said, and after she and her husband came back from eating, she said, I went for a walk. She said, it's amazing how good going for that walk made me feel. And I thought, yes, you're taking dominion over that negative thinking that plays in your mind. Emmett Fox wrote a book called The 7-Day Mental Diet. And he says that if we could stay on that diet for 7 days, that our lives would be changed. And what he said is, it's not easy. It's simple, but it isn't easy. That for 7 days, every time we have a negative thought, that we consciously replace that thought with something positive. The stock market's going down. Oh, the stock market goes up and down. This is a good time to buy. It's down. We have that choice. He said it would be the most significant week of our lives if we would do it. He said that every time you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive one. And do that until it becomes a habit. And what I've noticed about habits is it's harder for me to pick up a good habit than it is for me to pick up a bad habit. I have no trouble with bad habits. I I had been eating really well for about 6 weeks, and we went to New Orleans. And the first day, I ate pretty good. The beignets weren't until we came back this Wednesday, so beignets weren't until Tuesday. I didn't fall down into beignets until Tuesday. However, along the way, there was gumbo and fried oyster po' boys and shrimp and grits. So easy to go with what is easy and what seems attractive at the moment. So much harder to keep my mind focused on what am I thinking and how can I change it. You know, in Unity we have these things called affirmations and denials. And so anytime that we get those negative thoughts, we can stop and say, you know, that thought has no power over me. I have power over that thought. I can change that thought. There was a religious science protege of Ernest Holmes whose name was William Hornaday. And one day he was in his office and his secretary rushed in and handed him a note. And the note was from one of the practitioners. And this is a pretty old story, so it was in the 50s. The note said, Dr. Bill, this note is to introduce Julius Pudholtz, the most alarming case of negative thinking I've ever encountered. He's like an accident going somewhere to happen. I simply could not get through to him. But he has agreed to spend 5 minutes talking to you. Do what you can. He needs your help. And the cab driver breaks in and said, this crazy woman, she gives me $5 if I'll listen to you for 5 minutes. What are you? Are you some kind of psychologist? You a head shrinker? And Dr. Bill said, no. Tell me, Julius, when did you leave Brooklyn? To which Julius said, well, you got me. You recognized my accent. I left one terrible year ago. I was out of my mind, talking about getting out of the frying pan into the fire. Well, aren't things going well, Julius? Things stink, Doc. Well, how did you happen to come west? Sunshine. Huh. My wife, Sarah, she keeps talking about California sunshine. You ever see the sun out here? All I see is smog. Right away, I got asthma. I can't smoke anymore. I've gained 18 pounds. I have headaches and I feel sick. You know how many meals I got to provide? 18 a day for my wife and kids. In a week, that's 89. In a month, it's 272. In a year, it's astronomical. And me, I'm getting nickel tips. We can see how old this is. Brother, oh, for the noise and stink and freezing cold and sweating heat of Brooklyn. But I'm stuck here now. And you know what's back of it? Sarah figured out that she'd pry me out of going to those Saturday dice games. The first time I win, she takes my money and says, we're coming to California. I win one time. It was an accident. California sunshine, she says, and out we came. Those chomping monsters eating hamburgers all the way across all those states and across the desert. And we landed in this thick smog. It's Parr. That's me. That's Pudholtz. And Dr. Bill said, well, how old are you, Julius? And Julius said, well, I'm really younger than I look, Doc. Nothing ages a hacker more than a nickel tip. Well, how'd you earn that nickel tip? Well, there was this lady and she had groceries, and I carried her groceries up 3 flights of stairs. And do you know she gave me a nickel tip? She gave me 5 pennies. That's the bottom of a long, lousy downhill slide. You better start talking, Doc. Your time is almost up. $5 for 5 minutes is what that lady gave me. First big tip I've gotten in the Golden State. What kind of racket is this anyhow? And at that moment, Dr. Bill said, well, I'm doing research for a book. Tell me, have you got a good cab? Oh, no. Good cabs, they are hard to come by. I get lemons all the time. I was in there having lunch, and one of my tires blew out. Another time, I was sitting at the corner, and some kids came around, and they ran their bicycles and flattened my fender. How's that for trouble? Once on a freeway at night, I ran out of gas because my gas tank sprung a leak for no reason. And I didn't find out until we were out in the country. And I had this person, my fare was this gimpy old guy and with a sprained ankle, and he was late for his appointment. I had to half carry him a mile. And that brought on rain. He had a bleeding heart like everybody out here. He tips me 2 bits and then digs around and adds another nickel. 30 cents. Big deal. So Dr. Bill says, well, life has been treating you pretty bad, huh? Life stinks. It's hell. Surprising both Julius and Bill, Dr. Bill says, well, how would you like to earn another $5? Julius kind of began to pay attention. Another $5, huh? Doing what, Doc? Well, doing research. Research from my book. Yeah, that's going to be a paper chase. What next? Bill said, I want you to try an experiment. Whether it works or not, I'll give you $5 next Friday morning. Yeah, experiment with what? Experiment with your attitude of mind. Attitude? Dr. Bill said, this is a religious science church. We have a theory which has been proved out consistently for almost 40 years. We believe every man, including Julius Putholz, has within himself something which can be used to change everything he dislikes about his life. And Julius kind of hitched up his pants and kind of cocked his head and was kind of listening. Bill said there's a technique. Everything in our life responds to our attitudes, to our ideas, to what we think, and to what we say. And if you think people are unappreciative, they are. If you expect a bad day, you'll have one. If your mind is grudgingly fixed on small tips are what you're going to get, or none. If your service is rendered only for money, you may miss out entirely. Your present attitude has brought you nickel tips. You admit it. It's also given you a shabby cab, a soiled jacket, a 5 o'clock shadow, hard luck, cabs that break down. If I show you the technique and tell you exactly how to do it, will you reverse your attitude and try out the affirmative and report back to me next Friday? Reverse my attitude? Yeah, flip it over. View everything. You view everything through glass darkly. Change. Are you so stubborn that you'd insist that there's only one way that things can be? Try out the affirmative. It won't be easy. You'll earn your $5. If you manage to be consistent between now and Friday, you'll have to climb out of the hell you're in now. Julius is kind of interested. Yeah? A self-created hell, the only kind there is. Are you capable of discipline? Julius is kind of shifting his weight back and forth and thinking about it, and he's not real sure about this stuff. Dr. Bill goes on to say, you'll have to watch every thought, every word you say, and you'll substitute love for hate. Are you willing to try it? Or do you think you're too far gone? How do I do it? And Bill says, well, first, courtesy, which is one aspect of love that you may not have tried lately, it sounds like. What I want you to do is when a fare hails you, I want you to greet him warmly. I want you to get out of the cab and open the door for him. Get out of the cab and open the door. Exactly. And smile. Let your face move. Nobody sees the whole truth, Julius. There are as many viewpoints as there are people, but you have a choice, and until Friday, you're to take the bright side. It's kind of a gimmick, huh? Well, it's like the switch on the TV. Try it. You might possibly tune in. And then what will happen, said Julius. Well, you'll succeed if you clarify your motives. Think it out first. Let's have a policy for the cab. Every successful business operates on a policy. It may help if you pretend that you're taking a cab. No matter what the provocation, treat the customer as you'd want to be treated. Oh, that old hogwash. Don't kid me, Doc. I went to temple a few times. What hurts you, don't do to the other guy. That's nothing but an old Jewish religion. They talk that same junk to the kids these days. That old stuff, it goes way back. Well, have you ever tried it? Julia said, it isn't practical in the cab business. Dr. Bill said, I think it is. That's my point. $5 for a good try. Anybody made you any better offer? So Julius thinks about it and looks around. He says, you got a real little bitty office for such a cheerful guy with such big ideas. And Bill said, well, one day you'll find me in a bigger one with a glass wall and a garden outside. Oh, yeah? And Bill said, yeah, at the moment, it's an idea. But I'm going to hold on to that idea, and with another 1,000 people, we're going to make that idea come into a reality and make a beautiful new church. Oh, yeah, I believe that, said Julius. Listen, Julius, it goes no further than this. Understand this much. You have yourself for a friend. That you know for sure. What kind of friend are you being to yourself when every thought in your mind is destructive? What kind of friend are you being to yourself when every thought in your mind is destructive? So Julius abruptly turns and begins to leave, and as he gets out the door, he peeks back in and says, "Want to go for a ride with Smiley Pololtz?" Well, the week goes on, and Dr. Bill got busy. He forgot all about Julius. The following Friday morning, he was writing a sermon in his office when a hat sailed past him and landed on the floor near the desk, and it was worn, battered, but somehow it was kind of jaunty. And in walks Julius, grinning from ear to ear. "Keep your $5, Doc." Brother, that worked. "Things are all right now," said Dr. Bill. "Well, yeah, everything is except Sarah. Everything else is terrific." "Well, what's wrong with Sarah?" "Well, there's no communication. I came home and opened my wallet and gave her money for a raincoat she wanted, and she thought I was out there shooting those dice." Do you know what I made? I made $146 this week. You need any dough? So what happened, Julius? Miracles happened. For a while, I think it's what you'd say a coincidence. But then pretty soon I realized it's not, Doc. It's impossible. It gives me the chills. The first guy I got when I left here, listen, I cruise over to Chapman Park Hotel, and there's this old guy waiting and no cabs. He's sad-faced, gray-haired, tired fella. I jumped out and I opened the door, and he seemed surprised. "Why, thank you," he says. He wants to go to the airport, so I begin to tell him how great the freeways are. This reversed what I always said about him, you see, like you said. And the more I talk, the better they began to look. More convenient-like and faster. And then I think of all the trouble that those engineers went to figure out how to build these, and how they had to get the land and take down houses, all that legal stuff. Man, I noticed there was this kind of warm silence in the back of the seat, and when I look in the rearview mirror, the man is smiling like somebody's been making love to him. You know what? It turns out he's on the Highway Commission in Sacramento, and he's never heard a kind word about the highways in 15 years. He's got 55 minutes before his plane, so he says, "How about lunch?" And even how I'm dressed, he takes me to this swell restaurant and buys me lunch. And I kind of got drunk on it, talking about them freeways. He's taking notes and putting them in a book. He follows me all the way to the door, and we shake hands, and he gives me a $20 bill, fare plus a $13 to $14 tip. I begin to shake all over. I'm stunned, you see. My cab is parked in the lot, and I go reeling over there, and here's a horn-rimmed egghead with 4 suitcases who wants to go to Caltech in Pasadena. So we start, and he asks how are things around him, and I tell him they're great, couldn't be better. I reverse everything about Los Angeles. He talks smog, I talk clear air. He talks crowded freeways, I talk speed. It gets to be a game. He's watching the meter, and he says, "Well, how are tips?" I said, "Well, tips are fantastic. The last guy gave me over $10, I tell him, because I didn't think he'd believe that somebody gave me $13 or $14. Well, he didn't want to be a piker, so when we got to Caltech, he shells out the fare, which is plenty, and then he adds $3 silver. He's been to Las Vegas. How's that for wonderful? And then I go to the Green Hotel. 4 cabs are in line. And right away, a convention comes out, and I get this real happy guy getting in my cab. Now, he's a little drunk, but he's happy. I give him the business, and by now I'm singing like a canary on a sunny morning, and about, oh, well, that's the way it's been. Couldn't be better except for Sarah. didn't you tell Sarah about this? Julius says, Doc, how can I? Come in smiling and whistling, and she says, look out, kids, he's drunk. And I'm as sober as an owl. Makes me sore. Then I've given her that money for that raincoat she wanted, and she says, I've been shooting dice again. Doc, my blood boils. Sarah and me got no communication. By now, I froze up and she froze up. I go out of the house in the morning tap dancing and singing to get into the mood, you know, and she thinks I'm already getting plastered during breakfast. That's her attitude. 100% negative. I want you to call her up, Doc. Tell her it wasn't any dice game. Tell her it was just this old Jewish philosophy up to date. Bill said, when was the last time you took Sarah out to dinner? Out to dinner? You mean like out for Chinese food? Bill said, well, take her out alone without the kids. I recommend that. You know, and when the candles are lit and you've ordered her favorite dinner, tell her all about this. Tell her the whole truth. She's not speaking to me. Now you're being negative. Well, I'm speaking, but she isn't. I never knew a woman that didn't like to go out to dinner with no dishes and no planning. I don't know, Doc. I tried explaining this affirmative stuff to my best buddy at the garage, and he thinks I'm nuts. Dr. Bill says, well, Sarah will listen. You've already let your example show what's happened. She must secretly be puzzled. You reversed your thinking outside. It will work at home too. It works everywhere. You mean be polite the whole bit? Hold out her chair and all? Okay, I'm going to try it tonight. The next Sunday morning, Mrs. Julius Potholz was in line at the Sunday service, and when Bill was standing out front shaking hands, and her accent matched Julius's, which I could not do the accent. And she was a perky little woman with a new top coat, and she says to him, "It's reversible." Just like Julius. Doctor, it's like I had two husbands, see, with the best one on the inside. Now it's Julius turned inside out like before we were married. It's a miracle. He takes me to Chansu's restaurant, and at first he sounds a little crazy talking about this law that we don't know about and about how being polite is part of love and brings good reactions and thinking positively. Pretty soon I got to believe him. He's kind of shining. He says it even works at home because, look, we're talking. He wants me to read up on the philosophy so that I can explain more of it to him. He's not what you'd call a fast reader. And Dr. Bill says, why don't you two come to see me? But I want to warn you, the rest of the way may not be easy. It's a curious fact when each one of us discovers in our own fashion the coincidences, the answers to prayer, and how they come tumbling over one after another in the beginning, then once you're thoroughly convinced, suddenly there's more work to do. And you have dry periods too, until sometimes, like a monk falling on his knees, you'll say, I believe, help my unbelief. Sarah said, well, it's okay with me. We've never had it easy. It used to be I could just bust down and cry, but because Julius has changed so much since we got married. But now I found out he's reversible, and I have hope. I got hope. So our question this morning is, can you afford the consequences of your thinking. Our greatest asset, your greatest asset, my greatest asset, is our ability to take dominion over our mind, to take control of our thoughts and our feelings. This week, I want to encourage you to be on vacation from negativity. I want you to take this thought: I am an irresistible magnet to all of the good. To all of the good. I am an irresistible magnet. Take dominion over your thoughts and see what happens. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Beth. That was wonderful. It's now time for our celebration of abundance, and we thank you for your continued support, your love offerings, your tithes, and your gifts. We thank you also, the consistent givers that we have. The work that we do here, really, it couldn't be done except for your gifts. So thank you, thank you, thank you. For you online, there are some ways that you can see on the slide to give to Unity of Stewart to further the work here. Also, if you're a big Amazon person, you can go on Smile Amazon and choose Unity of Stewart, or actually it's Unity of Martin County as your charity, and so that they give a little bit to the church when you buy something on Amazon. So that's my excuse, what I use when I buy on Amazon a lot. So let's affirm our prosperity prayer together. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. Let's get this. Let's do it again. I'm sorry, because the slide wasn't up there. Together. In a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all the needs of Unity of Stewart and those we serve are instantly, constantly, and bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good comes to us now. We are grateful. Amen. And now our love offering blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give and receive always in love.
We all give our gratitude and give thanks for the multitude of blessings given every day to help us all along the way. We give thanks for a chance to give our gifts and for the lives we live and all the mercies from above that fill our hearts with grace and love. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks, oh, we give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks, oh, we give thanks.
A couple of additional announcements. Welcome team members. We're looking for some more welcome team members, and if you have any interest in this, those are the folks that greet you outside in the foyer. Please do sign up on the information table out in the foyer. Next, we also need some bookstore and hospitality leads and volunteers. Again, if you have interest in this, please do sign up on the information table. And now, we're going to wait and see. I don't see any kiddos back there yet. They're what? Oh, they are? Would you go out there and tell them, so we're ready to sing them in? Could you please stand? And we're not making the tunnel anymore. We are just going to be singing as they come in, and let them see your big, big smile, okay? Thank you, Nikki.
1, 2,
Please be seated. Please be seated. And Jen, you have an announcement for us? Yes, we're looking for some volunteers, I believe. Thank you so much.
There we go. We are always searching to expand our program and adult involvement. So if you have something to offer this awesome group, see me. Yep.
Yes.
And does anyone want to share about our lesson today? Nova?
We were giving thanks. Faith.
Anybody?
We learned about who you can trust. Yeah, trust.
Trust and faith.
Trust in yourself and God.
That's what he said.
Thank you, thank you. All right, thank you, Jen. And now it is the first Sunday of the month. So if you have a birthday in May, would you please stand so we can sing happy birthday to you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! And now let's affirm our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And now the peace song. Happy Sunday, everyone.